Saving feels safe because it avoids visible risk. Money in an account looks stable, untouched by volatility or failure. But safety and power are not the same thing. Savings preserve money, but they do not preserve influence. They keep value static, while the world around that value keeps moving. When systems change, static value slowly loses relevance. Wealth is not created by standing still. It is created by positioning capital where it can interact with systems that scale, compound, and redirect flows. Without that interaction, money becomes passive, and passivity has a cost. Inflation is the most obvious cost, but it is not the most important one. Inflation erodes purchasing power gradually and predictably. The deeper erosion happens through missed participation. Every economic system rewards certain behaviors and positions. Capital placed outside those positions does not disappear, but it becomes marginal. Over time, marginal capital has less leverage over outcomes. Savings accounts are designed for preservation, not participation. They sit outside production, ownership, and coordination. This distance feels neutral, but neutrality is still a position. When capital is not positioned, it becomes dependent. It depends on wages, policy decisions, interest rates, and institutional stability. Dependence reduces negotiating power even when balances appear healthy. Wealth behaves differently from savings. Wealth adapts, moves, and aligns itself with incentives. It is less concerned with safety and isolation, and more concerned with durability within changing systems. This is why high savers often feel financially stuck. Their discipline protects them from collapse, but not from stagnation. Over long periods, stagnation quietly becomes decline. Capital that only preserves value slowly loses strategic relevance. It cannot influence direction, timing, or scale. It waits, while others decide. Positioning does not mean recklessness. It means understanding where value is created and captured. It means placing capital where it can absorb growth rather than just survive change. Ownership is one form of positioning. Control over productive assets allows capital to benefit from expansion rather than merely endure it. Without ownership, savings remain observers. Leverage is another form of positioning. This is not only financial leverage, but informational and structural leverage. Capital that connects to networks, platforms, or distribution gains reach beyond its size. Time also changes the meaning of safety. What feels safe over 1 year can be fragile over 20. Long-term security requires adaptability, not just restraint. Savings teach restraint very well. They train patience, discipline, and delay. But they do not train strategic placement. Many people confuse the absence of loss with progress. Avoiding mistakes feels productive, but it does not create momentum. Momentum only comes from interaction with systems that move. Capital that never enters those systems becomes invisible to them. Invisible capital is not rewarded, protected, or prioritized. It simply exists. This is why financial power erodes even when balances grow. The number increases, but influence does not. Eventually, the gap becomes noticeable. Economic history is full of careful savers who were overtaken by structural shifts. Their money remained intact while the world reorganized around them. By the time the change was obvious, positioning opportunities had passed. Wealth is not about predicting the future perfectly. It is about ensuring capital is exposed to favorable asymmetries. Exposure matters more than precision. Savings reduce downside, but they also cap upside. Over time, capped upside becomes a ceiling you cannot see until you hit it. At that point, adjustment becomes harder. This is not a moral failure or a lack of intelligence. It is a design issue. Savings systems are built to stabilize individuals, not to empower them. Stability is valuable, but it is not sufficient. Systems reward contribution to growth, coordination, and control. Capital that avoids these roles remains peripheral. The quiet danger of savings is not loss. It is irrelevance. Money that cannot influence outcomes is at the mercy of those that can. Wealth, by contrast, reshapes its environment. It aligns with incentives and embeds itself into structures that endure change. That alignment is what preserves power over time. Understanding this difference changes how money is viewed. The question shifts from how much is saved to where capital is positioned. Preservation becomes a baseline, not the goal. Savings are a starting point, not a destination. Without movement beyond preservation, financial power slowly leaks away. It disappears not through shocks, but through neglect. Want to see the hidden rules shaping money, power, and human behavior? Subscribe to Unseen Forces.